Good morning. Are you ready for a glorious day? Yeah. Woo! Yeah, you guys were worshiping good this morning. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, good job. So, I just get over there and get to listen to it. So, thank you. It's pretty awesome. Great job. And out there on the patio, too, worshiping good. So, hey, good morning. My name is David. Who cares about me? More importantly, it's all about Jesus, period. I hope you believe that. I hope you're here to worship him. Jesus is an awesome, amazing God. And he is calling us out of the grave, right? Out from our sin and out of our death into a life of gloriousness with him. So even though we may die, we know we're going to rise again and live with him. I hope you believe that. So if you don't know that, I want you to know that Jesus loves you. He cares about you. He's here for you, and we want you to know him. We want you to have a relationship with him. So good morning. Welcome on the broadcast. Thank you guys for joining us. We have more and more people joining the broadcast all the time. So thank you guys for hanging in there with us. Keep coming back every week. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here with us today. And thank you out there on the patio. Hey, there you go. Good morning. Yeah, it's getting cooler, so more and more are starting to go out there on the patio. And we got the new TV setup out there for you. So you got something new today. And then thanks for joining us in the drive-in. And, of course, thank you for joining us in here. Good morning. Woo! Woo! We're lopsided today. There's more people over here than over here. I don't know what's wrong. Yeah. These people must have wore their deodorant. You guys, I don't know, you didn't bathe this morning. I don't know what's going on. But, hey, more importantly, it's all about Jesus. Period. So a few weeks ago, I went to the doctor's. Kim made me go for a annual checkup that I haven't had since I was 16 or something. But anyways, so I went to the doctor's, and the doctor told me something that I've never heard before. He said, David, you have to lose some weight. I said, what? What are you talking about, I said, you have to lose some weight. I've never heard those words from a doctor before. I said, wow, getting old really stinks, doesn't it? So, I said, yeah. How many of you have ever heard the doctor say you have to lose some weight? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think that's just about everybody, and those of you who didn't raise your hand are lying. So, yeah. Or you're under the age of 20. So, yeah. But, I mean, it's something like common terms. Doctors say you got to lose some weight. And it's frustrating words to hear that, especially when your doctor's overweight. You're like... Now, mine wasn't, but, I couldn't even argue. Like, how am I supposed to lose weight? What should I do, Doc? What do you suggest? He said, a plant-based diet. And my wife laughed out loud. That's never going to happen. Anyways, I said, okay. She's not lying. She knows me. That's not going to happen. So I like meat. So anyways, but change, right? With diet, we have to change. This is what it says. When someone says lose weight, what are they saying? You have to change. You have to change. And nobody likes change, right? We don't even want to carry change in our pocket. Even now there's a change shortage. No, there's not. Change is happening more frequently than, we can keep up with it. There's not a change shortage. There's a change overwhelmingness, right? Change. Say change. Change. Change no one likes. We all get frustrated with change. It's a frustrating thing. In fact, let me just poll you real quick. How many of you, by a show of hands, how many of you sit roughly in the same seat every Sunday or near that seat? How many? Yeah, holy cow. Turn around and look at the hands. Raise those hands again. I'm talking to everybody. Yeah, wow, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you guys, this is how I take attendance. Yeah, it's were they at church? Hold on, let me think. Where were they? Yeah, they were there. I remember. Yeah. Their spot was empty. See, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they weren't here. Yeah, I can't keep up with broadcast, right? Yeah. Some of you have big issues about sitting in the same seat, and you walk in and someone's sitting there, and you're like, Yeah, I know you ladies had this issue this morning. Yeah, it just happened this morning. Walk down the aisle. Tried sitting over there. That didn't work. This isn't right. It's just not comfortable. My tushy, I don't know. Yeah, I can't hear. What is it? Some of you like to sit up front. Some of you like to sit in the back. You're afraid of my spit. These guys up front, it's like a Gallagher show up here. They keep getting spit on. I don't know. Yeah, we're creatures of habit, right? I mean, why do we keep sitting in the same seat? It's comfortable for us. You've declared that as your seat. You probably came here once, maybe the second time, said, this is it. This is where I'm sitting forever. This is my seat, right? I just want to let you know we have 3 services. There's at least 2 other people who claim your seat as their seat. Just want you to know that. So if you ever switch a service, you're going to be like, they're in my seat. And they're going to be like, this is my seat. What's going on? It happens all the time. That's the problem with the tenants. Wait, what service was it? Were they there? I don't know. Yeah. We do this because of comfortability. We do it because we're comfortable. We sit in our same seat. We're comfortable. My head is already cocked. I know how to listen to David. It'd be horrible if I have to listen like this. I don't know. The fan blows on me just right here or doesn't blow on me just right. Or, I like to be back here where I can hide or in the back row where I can get out early if something crazy happens. You start talking about money or something. I'm out of here, right? In the front row, you're stuck. You're like, I'm more spiritual. We're going to sit in the front row. Notice me. Yeah, see, these spiritual people up here. Anyways, yeah, it's nobody's right here, though. Yeah, nobody's right here. Nobody's that spiritual. Anyway, so it's comfortability, right? And that's the issue we have with change. No one likes change because it's uncomfortable. And when the doctor says lose weight, that means change. And you go, ooh, doctors, this is why I don't go. They're always telling me to change. Something's wrong with you. You got to change. Maybe I should change doctors. I don't know, right? No, don't do that. They know what they're talking about, right? Change. Sometimes change is thrust upon us and we don't want change. Sometimes we choose to change. Not all change is fun. Not all change is a choice. I'm losing my hair. That's not a choice. And say, oh, God, I want to go bald. He said, okay, let's make you bald. It just starts coming out. I don't like this change, God. You start getting old and things start falling apart. And, you can't sleep through a whole night without going pee anymore. What's the deal with this stuff, right? I'm like, no wonder you guys are going to bed at 6 and waking up at 4. Yeah, I get it now, right? And it's thrust upon us. Change, right? It's going to happen. Change. In fact, it's constantly happening. Constantly happening. The Bible talks about change, and we're going to be talking about this new series we're in. I should probably say that. We're in this new series called You Can't Stop Me. Say that with me. You can't stop me. Not you, the people around you, but change can't stop us. And change stops people right in their tracks. It stops people from moving forward with Christ, whether it's a choice to change, oh, I don't think I want to do that, or whether it's thrust upon us. Man, what happened? What's going on? And we dig our heels in and we say, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to let this affect me. It doesn't matter if the world's going crazy. I'm going to stay exactly like this. And guess what? You change anyways. You just become more crotchety in your change. So that's all right. But change, right? Change happens. Many times by choice, many times being thrust upon us in Scripture. Now's the Scripture. If you have a Bible, if you need a Bible, there's Bibles down there, the white Bibles. If you need a Bible, you do not have one, you can take a Bible home with you. All right? So we don't want you to leave here without a Bible. Out in the patio, we have a Bible for you. The broadcast will get you a Bible. Email me, david@HilltopLHC.com. David, send me a Bible. Okay, we'll get you one, all right? Daniel, chapter 1, verse 1. The book of Daniel. Say Daniel. Daniel. Daniel's a great book. I encourage you to go home and read it. We're going to go through chapter 1 a little bit here, but I encourage you to just go home and read it. I can't cover everything, or else I'll keep you here all day. We have other services, and they tell me in the back, hurry up, you're taking too long anyway. So they keep me on track. But Daniel, chapter 1, verse 1, it says, during the third year of King Zedekiah's reign in Judah, King Nebuchadnezzar, I love that name, Nebuchadnezzar. Kim says, if we ever get a dog, we're going to name him Little Nebby, right? Yeah, she loves it. Yeah. Nebuchadnezzar, Nebby, right? King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. He came to Jerusalem and he besieged it. Okay, let me translate this for you. Nebuchadnezzar showed up and laid the smackdown on Jerusalem. And he wiped them out, and he took them over, and he said, now you serve me. And what does this mean? You pay me money, right? And you're in control. And then he took all the good people, the young people, the life of people, and he said, you guys, you kind of look good. I'm going to take you as prisoners back to Babylon, slaves. You're going to become my vessels. And all the bad people, you stay here in Babylon and you keep doing your thing and just keep sending me money and I won't come kill you. Sound like a deal? Okay, that's how what's going to happen, right? And this is what Nebuchadnezzar did. Now, this is change. This is major change because an invading army came in and now is dictating how the people are going to live. No one chose this. Again, it's like going bald. No one chooses to go bald. Your wife certainly doesn't choose for you to go bald. I married you for your lovely locks. You know, that wasn't why my wife married me, but anyways, right? It was for my lovely, anyways, it was humor. She must have been crazy. I don't know, right? And here's this change thrust upon the Israelite people. Because change always happens. And the truth is this, the only constant in life is Jesus. The only constant in life is Jesus. Now, people have said, well, death and taxes is a constant. No, they're change, right? Taxes is change. It's taking the money you had, and it's taking it away from you. Thank you very much. That's change. And death is change. You were breathing. You were laughing. Now you're dead. Oh, right? You're laying there quiet. Seems like a miracle in my house if anybody was quiet, but okay. Jesus is the only true constant in life. Jesus never changes. And James, Scripture tells us, James chapter 1, verse 17, second half. It says, Jesus never changes or casts a shifting shadow. That means Jesus is a solid rock. He is the only constant in our lives that there is and that there ever will be. You think, oh, well, no, I live the same way every day. You're changing every day. You're getting old. That's why you look in the mirror and you go, what happened? Oh, my goodness, I'm falling apart. Oh, wrinkles, where are they coming from? Children, right? Where's my hair going? What's happening? You get out of bed. Ooh, right? You can't run to the potty anymore. Right? That's change happening in your body. It's happening right there. And here's Daniel. He's a young man. He's probably in his 20s, maybe. He may be a teenager, not exactly sure. But he's a young man, and he gets change thrust upon him. The king of Babylon comes on and says, guess what? Your whole world is changing. I'm taking you away from Jerusalem, and I'm taking you to Babylon. And then there, he gets selected into a mentorship program to be a servant for the king. Okay. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Gee, I'm a slave in a country. I'm selected, voluntold. We do that in church too, right? Voluntold, right? That you are going to serve the king. The very king that just came in and wiped out your city, annihilated a bunch of people, and took you as a slave, a captive, a prisoner, now into this new place. Hey, guess what? You're selected to be in this program. Is this a good thing or not? Well, we don't know yet. Daniel doesn't know yet. Is it good or bad? This is kind of the thing with change, isn't it? The thing with change is we don't know what's going to happen. Things are changing. What's going to happen? I don't know. I used to come in church every Sunday and my chair was right there. Everything was hunky-dory. And then it changed. I love the Sundays when we move the chairs around. It comes in. Where's my chair? Just sit down and shut up. It'll be the same. All right? Yeah. Okay. Quit your crying, right? Quit your crying. Because things are comfortable. And when things change, it's really a departing from our past. It's a departing from yesterday. Yesterday, everything was great. I walked in, sat down. Hallelujah. I'm coming out of that grave. Woohoo. Great service. Now everything's changed. My chair's in a different spot. My hair's falling out. I'm older. The doctor said lose weight. What's going on here? It's a departing from the past. I don't know what the future holds, and I'm uncomfortable. I'm comfortable with the past because I know what I'm going to get. But the future? Oh, no. this change? I don't know what's going to happen. And this is where Daniel's at. He doesn't know what's going to happen. I just might call you out if you're not sitting in your seat next Sunday. You don't know. If you're not sitting where you're supposed to be, hey, you were sitting over here. You're supposed to be over there. What's wrong with you? Yeah. Someone is in your seat? Oh, heavens forbid. Praise Jesus. Someone new came to church. I know. What's going on, right? Yeah, change. I'm getting on you people today, so yeah, that's right. Next week, you're all going to be sitting in a different seat. He talked about it, sit in a different seat, honey. We can't sit there, he knows, right? Yeah, that's right. You're going to throw me off. What's going on? This mentorship program, right? This mentorship program lasted for 3 years. Daniel was going to be in it for 3 years. Now, a lot of change was going to happen to him. To be in this program, he had to change his name. Okay, I'm used to being called David. You start calling me something else, I'm like, what? Who are you calling? I'm only used to being called curse words and David, not anything else. I don't know, right? So, change name change. The way he eats, he's got to change. Diet changes. You can't eat cupcakes and ice cream anymore. You got to start eating better food than that. Ugh, who wants to do that? I don't know. You have to now serve the king. Okay, I'm under this constant protection of this man who's watching over me to make sure I do everything. Talk about having your boss have his thumb on you. He's constantly there 24 hours. And if things go bad, you could die. Off with his head, right? So this changes. Who knows what's going to happen? Yet we learn from Daniel that he doesn't allow the change to stop him. A lot of people look at change like this and they go, no, I'm not. Change is happening all around me. Put on the brakes. Whoa, dig in the heels. Whoa, I'm not moving forward. I'm not letting this change. And yet God says, trust me. I'm the only constant. Why are you trusting the world around you? Trust in me. I am the rock. And even though everything around you is changing, I'm consistent and you can trust in me. Yet a lot of people don't do that. We say, oh, God, you're not doing what I think you should be doing. God, how dare you let change happen around me? And he says, you've been changing since the day you were born. What are you talking about? So what are we going to do then, right? Are we going to dig our heels in at the change and refuse to trust Jesus? Or are we going to walk with Jesus through the change and allow him to transform us through it? This is the choice Daniel has. This is the choice we have. Because Jesus is only constant. Change reveals what we really trust in. Change reveals what we really trust in. Change is the fastest way in our lives for us to recognize, what do I really trust in? I mean, we say it's all about Jesus, period, but then change happens. Ooh, who do I really trust in? Do I trust in my job? Do I trust in my money? Or do I trust in Jesus? Doctor gives bad news. Oh, who do I really trust in? Do I trust in the doctor or do I trust in Jesus? Okay, well, maybe you trust Jesus that he's giving the doctor appropriate information. Okay, all right, you can trust that. But it begins to reveal who we really trust and what we really trust. And there's lots of other illustrations than that. But change forces us to go, where's my stable? Where's my rock? What am I standing on? Am I standing upon Jesus Christ? Am I standing upon his word? Or am I really standing upon something else? And I'm just hoping Jesus meets me where I'm at. Change reveals all that to us. Daniel chapter 1, verse 8. It says, but Daniel was determined not to defile himself by eating the food and wine given to them by the king. So in other words, he's in this mentorship program. The king says, here's what you're going to eat. Here's the food you have to eat. And Daniel goes, whoa, this is against God's will for me. We live in a country where the government many times says, here's what's right and here's what's wrong. And we go, ooh, that doesn't agree with the Bible. How am I going to live now? How am I going to interact with society? Because people say this is right, but it's not right. And I know it's not right. So what am I going to do now? Am I going to trust my rock-solid foundation of Jesus Christ? Or am I going to go, well, okay, the world, people are going to judge me. People are going to see. I could lose my head over this. I could lose friends. I could lose career. I don't know. What am I going to do? Right? Here's Daniel, right? Daniel refused to allow the change around him to stop him from trusting in the foundation of Jesus Christ. He asked, on with the verse, he asked the chief of staff for permission not to eat these unacceptable foods. Now, so what did Daniel do? Change is happening. I disagree with this. I need to stand on my only foundation, Jesus Christ. And so he goes to the chief, he goes to the attendant over him, the chief over him, and says, okay, I understand this is what you want to happen, but really I believe on the foundation of Christ, and I need to keep living like this. He takes a big risk, doesn't he? He's willing to stand up in the face of change. He's willing to change to the change, but not change in Christ. Did that make sense? Probably not. But anyways, notice Daniel chapter 1, verse 9. It says, now God, notice how God, this is how God responds to Daniel staying with him. Now God has given the chief of staff both respect and affection for Daniel. Now, don't get caught off on this word affection. People get, we're in this modern society and we get all into this sicko way thinking. That's not what that means. What that means is God gave the chief of staff eyesight to see that Daniel was a valuable guy. He's a guy you want in your team. And he recognized that. Hey, this is a guy who can help us achieve what we want to achieve. And so he recognized it. And you're valuable. That was the affection for him. Man, this guy's valuable. I love him. I care about him. I want to see him succeed. That's affection. That's what we had men's breakfast, right? We come and hang out with each other. We burp and do other things, and we're affectionate with each other, We're man affectionate. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Hug. 1, 2, 3, break. Okay, all right. Yeah, how you doing? You women are affectionate differently. You're like, I know, girlfriend. Oh, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Right? Yeah. So we're just different. We show affection differently. Guys walk by and see that. What is going on? What do I need to fix, ladies? Nothing. We're just talking. Oh, just getting it out. Okay. All right. Whatever, Crazy world, so. Daniel chapter 1, verse 10. But the chief, this is the attendant over Daniel, he said, I am afraid of my lord the king. That's King Nebuchadnezzar, who had ordered that you eat this kind of food, this food and wine. If you become pale and thin compared to the other youths, it's like my cousin Vinny. Remember that movie? Yeah, it's a son. What's a youth? Yeah, I don't know, youth. Compared to these other youths your age, I'm afraid the king will have me beheaded. So understand what's happening here. Daniel's suggesting change to the attendant. What does the attendant say? Ooh, I don't know. I'm afraid. Did you hear that? I'm afraid. What's he afraid of? Well, if things change, I'm no longer comfortable. I could lose my head. That won't feel very good. I'm afraid of change. He enters into what a lot of us enter into when change is presented before us. What if? What if? We enter into the what ifs, and what ifs are always negative. Nobody says what ifs are positive, right? What if she says yes? What if I get $1 million? What if we get a new car out of it? No, it's always like, what if I get cancer? What if the world blows up? What if I lose all my legs and I'm blind forever? Well, okay, depresso, all right, but all right. We enter into this, and confronted with change, you see this guy. Well, what if it goes bad, right? I mean, think how many of us are afraid of failure in the face of change? When we see change, we automatically assume the worst rather than going, wow, this is an opportunity. God could do something here. God may be working through this. He may be transforming my life. Maybe we should trust God, my solid foundation, and keep moving forward with him, and let's see what he does. But instead we go, oh, I don't know, I'm not comfortable anymore. Last time I checked, Jesus doesn't do anything that makes us comfortable. He does stuff that makes us uncomfortable, because that's where the growth happens, when we're uncomfortable. It's the fear of change. Change is a gamble with the unknown. Change is a gamble with the unknown. How many of you are gamblers? I'm just kidding. Don't raise your hand. You're in church. You sinners, right? Change is a gamble with the unknown because we really don't know what's going to happen through the change again. So we're going to trust our solid foundation in Christ. We're We're going to recognize that it's fear that maybe is holding us back. And then we're going to gamble with the unknown. Because that's what it is, right? Daniel chapter 1, verse 12. Here's his gamble. Please test me. So here we go. He said, I don't want to eat this food. The attendant said, you have to eat this food. If you don't, I could be killed, and I'm not risking my life. I'll risk your life. And so Daniel gambles. Please test us for 10 days on a diet of vegetables and water. Ugh. Anyways, so stick with the Atkins diet. It's a meteor. Anyway, so some of you think about that. You'll get that. But anyways, Daniel said, at the end of the 10 days, see how we look compared to the other young men who are eating the king's food. Then make your decision in light of what you see. Now, this is a gamble. Daniel's saying, listen, 10 days you test us. Now, doctor said I had to lose weight, and in 10 days I didn't lose very much weight. So I don't know how different I really looked in 10 days. But Daniel's saying, hey, let's just throw it down. 10 days, we'll step on the scale, I guess. We'll see who's beefy and who's not. I don't know. And we'll gamble this. And so he throws it out there. Well, guess what? In 10 days, if Daniel was wrong, he's in trouble. I mean, he could die. Understand, this is serious. He could die. They could have killed him over this. And yet he said, I'm going to trust in my solid foundation through the change, even so much so that I'm willing to gamble with the unknown. How many of us are willing to gamble with the unknown? Most of us aren't willing to do that. No, I don't want to gamble. I want a sure thing. I've heard about a sure thing. Every time someone says, I got a sure thing, don't bet you're going to lose. Right? I mean, whatever it is, real estate, I got a sure thing. We're going to make money. Yeah, okay. Right. There's only one sure thing. His name is Jesus Christ. He's the only sure thing. And yet, we see Daniel standing on that sure thing, on Jesus Christ. And he's willing to gamble with it. Let me challenge you with this. I know you don't like it, but it's true. The best place to experience Jesus Christ and to see if he's real and to gamble to see if it's going to come through with you is tithing. You get all bent out of shape on this subject, but it's true. And I'm not telling it for my benefit, I'm telling it for your benefit. The truth is, if you want to know if Jesus Christ is real, you want to know if he's rock solid foundation, you want to know if is it really all about Jesus, period? Because some of you come and say it, and you think it's just a motto. It's not a motto, it's a lifestyle. It's the way I live, it's a declaration. It's all about Jesus, period, and that's what my life is about. And so if my life is all about Jesus, period, why wouldn't I give him my money? And yet a lot of us go, whoa, money. Now you're getting into a sticky area there, Dave. Slow the roll down, right? I'm okay talking about love and forgiveness and even loving my wife. But my money, I don't know about that, right? I'm not sure if that's where I want to go. But the truth is, if you want to know if Jesus is going to come through or not, you put your money out there and see what happens. Because I can tell you what, Kim and I have been tithing a long time. We each were tithing before we were married. And then we came together and we've continued to tithe, continued to trust Jesus through that. And we've seen our income go from nothing to something, and Jesus has been there the whole time. You know, it's a lot harder to write the big check than it is to write the little check. It's a lot easier to tithe $10 than it is to tithe 100, 1,000, 10,000, right? It's hard. But it's that way for a reason. Because Jesus says, trust me. Are you going to trust me in this? And when we step forward and we're willing to send our finances out there, because we're in America, and what do we say? Our money is who you are. Your money is who you are. Your money is what makes you somebody important. That's what America says. But we say, no, Jesus is who I am. Money is just a tool that Jesus allows me to have. And I'm happy to give him 10% back to watch him overwhelmingly bless me with the 90%. And you know what? Over the years, Kim and I, how long have we been married? We've been together 32 years. That's dating and married. 32. We're old. Holy cow. She's old. Wow. And we've been tithing longer than that. So I'll say for 33 years we've been tithing, and I guarantee I could tell you story after story of how Jesus came through and took care of us. Are we rich? Well, we're rich in Jesus Christ. We're rich in family. We're rich in a church. Are we rich in the world standards? Why? That's miserable. I don't want to be that. That's miserable. But Jesus comes through. You want to know, is Jesus guaranteed? I challenge you, start tithing. Start doing it. You're going to find out really quick. Is your life really all about Jesus? Do you really believe in him? Start tithing. You will find out very quickly. And you'll find out if you really believe in him or not. Because are you really willing to do it? And it's hard at first, but I'm telling you, it's really easy now. Now did we tithe? Okay, we got paid? Tithe. We do it by text, so it goes right away. Boom, boom, in, check. All right, taken care of. Give it to God first. And if you're unsure, I'll even give you a gamble. I said there's no sure things, but this one's a sure thing for you. Take the 3-month challenge. If you don't tithe, take the 3-month challenge. What is that? Tithe for 3 months. First fruits off the top. Give it. If God does not bless you, come and tell me. I will get your money back. We'll give it all back to you. I throw that challenge down all the time. I've never once had someone come back. A, maybe they don't believe me, or B, they didn't take the challenge. But everybody who takes the challenge within like a month, you're never going to believe what God did. I hear it all the time. You're never going to believe what God did. I gave this money and I went down to the mailbox and there was a check for the exact same amount. And I'm like, that's God. How's that happen? That's God. When we stand on the solid foundation of Jesus Christ, it happens. There's people in here who tell you it happens. Now, I'm not saying if you give $1,000, he's going to have a check in your mailbox for $1,000. I'm not telling you that. What I'm telling you is he will bless you, but you'll only find out if you try it. It's up to you. You take the gamble. What do you trust in? It's a change. Maybe it's a change that's going to transform your life. Maybe you should take advantage of that. Trusting Jesus through the change will make us. Trusting Jesus through the change will make us. It will make us. Because what's happening? Jesus is doing a work in us through change. It's making us uncomfortable. It's making us talk about things we don't want to talk about and see things we don't want to see and confront issues we don't want to confront. And yet it begins to transform us because God is doing a work through us. And so it makes us into who God wants us to be. That's who it makes us into. Daniel, it made him. Daniel chapter 1, verse 15. At the end of the 10 days, Daniel and his 3 friends, that's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Shake a bed, make a bed, and to bed we go. That's those guys. They looked healthier and better nourished than the young men who had been eating the food assigned by the king. So after that, the attendant fed them only vegetables. He was blown away. Holy cow. This is awesome. In fact, I'm only going to give you that food now because it was such a blessing to the attendant. The attendant fed them only vegetables instead of the food and wine provided for the others. It was only through trusting in Jesus Christ that Daniel was able to be blessed because he stood on the solid foundation through the change that was happening in his life. And he said, I'm going to stand and I'm going to trust Jesus. And as he did that, he started to experience the blessing that God was giving. Most of us never experience that because we never step up to let God take control and change us. Heavens forbid I sit in another seat sometime. Maybe you'll stay awake and listen. I'm just kidding. It's all right? Verse 17, here's what God did. God gave these 4 men an unusual aptitude for understanding every aspect of literature and wisdom, a.k.a. they were smarter than everybody else. Did you ever meet someone who's really dumb and you go, man, they're really smart for a dumb person? How are they so smart? Because God made them smart. It's God's wisdom. God made these guys smart. And God gave Daniel the special ability to interpret the meaning of visions and dreams. Now, if you read the book of Daniel, this is going to come into play. But notice, none of the stuff in Daniel would have happened if Daniel hadn't trusted God and stepped out and took the gamble with him right here. Because this is where God gives him the ability to interpret dreams. He didn't have it before. God gave it to him. So God is doing something. All Daniel had to do was trust in Jesus Christ through the change. All we have to do is trust in Jesus Christ through the change happening in our lives. He is the only solid. He is. And if you keep reading the scripture, you actually find out that God overwhelmingly blesses Daniel because he makes him probably the most influential man in the whole kingdom of Babylon. A slave, an exile, a captive, rises to be next to the king, the most powerful person in the kingdom. You think God was up to something? You think God was doing something? You think Daniel was in slavery, walking across the desert going, man, this stinks. My life is horrible. How could God allow this to happen to me? How could God bring this upon me? This is not what I wanted for my life, God. God, I trusted you. I walked with you. And God said, I'm doing something, buddy. Shut up and trust me. That's David's translation of God. God's much nicer. Shut up and trust me. I'm doing something through the change. I am your solid foundation. Trust me in what's happening. You see, guys, there's change happening in our life every day. Every single day. And are we going to dig in our heels and fight it? Or are we going to trust Jesus through it? Because maybe the change is happening, and we say, I don't like what's happening right now, but maybe God is allowing it because he's doing something to us, because he's transforming us from who we are today to who he wants us to be. And he says, yeah, we got to go through some pain. We got to go through some struggle. We got to go through some difficulty. But I know what I'm doing. Trust me. I'm your only solid foundation. Bow your heads with me. Close your eyes. Jesus, we don't like change. We don't look for change. But Jesus, I pray that all of us who can hear my voice will choose to allow you to change our lives. Change us from being a sinful person to being a person saved by the blood of Jesus Christ. Change us from being a person who's afraid of the unknown to a person who stands on the solid foundation of Jesus Christ and says, my God is victorious. He raised the dead to life. He heals the sick. He makes the lame walk. He gives vision to the blind. And I'm serving him. And whatever he brings my way, I'm going to stand with him and cry out to him because he is my God. Jesus is my God. My life is all about Jesus, period. Let us be those people, Lord. As the world changes around us, as our bodies change, as we look in the mirror and we see change in our face, let us cry out, praise the name of Jesus Christ. Because one day I'll die and I'll rise again and I'll be with Jesus in heaven forever. Jesus, bring your goodness upon us as we stand faithful in who you are, our rock, our solid foundation, Jesus Christ. In the name of your Holy Spirit we ask, amen.